Hello, and welcome to the Kongversation. Mini! I'm Hyle Russell.
I'm Jeff Onan.
Jeff, you know how when traffic gets backed up because there's an accident up ahead, and, like, most people, I would say like 60% of people, they're hoping the accident isn't bad. Right, they're hoping that whoever was in it, just a minor fender bender and maybe a bruise or a scrape, but it's nothing fatal. But there's always 40% of people that are hoping for the most grisly massacre they have ever seen because they want to see the entrails, they want to see the viscera, they want to see carnage. And then they're disappointed when they pass by and they see that there's no blood. There is no broken bones or shattered skulls. All occupants are alive. I feel like that's where we're at today with the reveal of the Super Mario Bros. Movie teaser trailer. I feel like there's some disappointment that it wasn't worse than it was. Present company included. And... I don't know. I've actually gone radio silent for the most part since it dropped at New York Comic Con and on the Nintendo Direct because I didn't want to taint my lovely, lovely brain with other people's opinions. So I don't really know what people are saying. I assume a lot of people hate it. I assume that mostly though people are like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Oh well.
Yeah, sure. First of all, to answer your question, because you did say in the form of a question, when traffic's backed up, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I said that, yeah.
Yeah, you did say that. My answer is I never get backed up, Hyle. As you know, I'm very irregular.
Oh, yeah?
So no, I don't.
You poop during your commute is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, if the shoe fits, but... Basically, yeah, I didn't know what to expect going into this. I think I was a little nervous when it turned out to be pretty good because I was like, because I was like, how am I going to be funny if I'm not mad? I don't know what to do.
You came to me, Jeff. You came to me this past Sunday and you said, has anybody volunteered to be on that Conversation mini for the Mario movie trailer yet? Because I want to be on it. And I know you pretty well, Jeff. All of our years being friends and working together. I was like, the reason Jeff wants to be on this is he thinks it's going to be bad, and therefore this is going to be a fun episode to do.
Sure, yeah. but I watched it. I got nervous. I thought, what am I going to say that's interesting about a trailer that wasn't bad or angering in any significant way? Yeah. And so I thought about it, and I thought, well. I realized I hadn't eaten anything all day, so I had a bucket of ravioli.
Oh, bucket! Wow, I'm glad.
That's how we measure things in the Midwest out here. But yeah, and then I drank 9 beers, and also inhaled things of a gaseous nature. So I got all 3 food groups: the solids, the liquids, and the gases. I got them all into my body.
I think it's good timing because Biden's going to pardon you.
Yes, I can't get in trouble anymore. No. Daddy said so.
Grandpa said it's okay to toke it up. Yeah. Doobie doobie.
Oh. Yeah, so I actually, you know what, though? I'm very interested to see what you think about this. I don't have a lot of negative things to say, but I still have things to say. I have observations and thoughts.
I have plenty of things to say. I don't know how groundbreaking our opinions are going to be because, yeah, as Dustin is pointing out.
It's a fucking podcast. It's not NBC News. We don't have to be necessarily. We don't have to break anyone's ground or upset the status quo. But people tune in because they don't have anything better to do.
As Dustin has pointed out in our live stream chat, because we are unnaturally streaming this live on our Twitch channel right now, just because it's a big occasion. A lot of people are interested in this, and I am, as Dustin said, a sellout because, DK Vine is covering the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, the reason we're covering it, of course, is Donkey Kong will be in it. Cranky Kong will be in it. They were not in this trailer, though, so if you were hoping for some hot Kong action, you're going to walk away disappointed. But I think this was a good mood setter. It's a good little idea of what we can expect. I think we can discern a lot from this. I thought we could discern a lot from just the casting and character announcements last year's September, I should say.
But then once they say the casting and the actual celebrity names, the question immediately becomes, well, what's that performance going to look like? I didn't expect that casting.
Yeah,
I wonder what that's going to sound like. And we got this is not really a reveal trailer. This is a teaser.
It's a teaser. That's all it is.
And we got a great little teaser of what I probably am going to consider the two main characters of the film, which is Mario and the villain Bowser, and that we got to hear how both of them sounded, even if it was just a small taste.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting to me is this was kind of bandied about, but it wasn't confirmed. They're actually calling it the Super Mario Brothers movie. And the fact that they're calling it Super Mario Brothers signifies to me that Luigi will have a far bigger role than this teaser or any of our preconceptions would have had us believe.
Well, I think he's probably going to run the B plot, but we'll see what happens.
There's going to be what is this, a sitcom episode? Like
you're going to have multiple strands that all culminate, but
I think that they probably went with Super Mario Brothers because it's still the most marketable way to present Mario to the mainstream.
It was actually telling to me when Miyamoto introduced it on the Nintendo Direct and said that it's been almost 40 years of Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
which I found an interesting thing to say because Mario is older than Super Mario Brothers, but they really are kind of marketing this around that game and not necessarily anything that happened in the arcades.
Yeah, it's just interesting to me because aside from the new Super Mario Brothers series, they've mostly gotten away from that branding since 1991 or whatever. It's been, especially Mario, and I think Mario is a household brand. You hear Mario, you either think of the local pizzeria or you think of this guy. And, but the fact that they're going with Super Mario Brothers as the brand, as the title, I think Luigi will be the secondary protagonist of it. But Bowser is obviously going to have a big role in it. And I think they specifically cut this trailer to just give us a little taste of sort of the yin and yang of the movie. And I don't even know how much we saw today is actually going to be in the movie, or if this was just completely crafted for today. I could see definitely the opening scene with Bowser being part of the movie, but I'm a little unsure about the scene where Mario gets shot out into the Mushroom Kingdom, and was it Captain Toad who meets him? I know it's just Toad in the casting credits, but he's dressed like Captain Toad. But is Captain Toad? I don't fucking know. I don't know these things, Jeff.
He's a Toad, yeah. He's a not fucking know either. There's a lot of every one of them are fucking named Toad, so I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah, but with when I say Toad, you know what I mean, though. The Toad.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, our main Toad, main bro Toad. But I think that this trailer it might be deceptively edited just because it's a teaser, but we're supposed to feel what we feel, and I just don't know how.
Are you saying you don't think this is how the movie opens? Is that what you're saying? I think this is just cut together from scenes, right?
Oh, yeah, but I think they might have really sliced and diced, especially the Mario and Toad bit in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Like the part where Mario meets the little Toad, and then they both just hop off together on mushrooms, and Mario says, "Hey, Mushroom Kingdom, here we come," or whatever he's fucking said.
I think that line was like, I was going to say...
there's got to be like a whole scene between that moment and the previous moment. Like it's obviously cut together.
But I was going to say, I think that line, Mushroom Kingdom, here we go, or here we come, or whatever, was ADR because it didn't even sound natural in the context of what we saw. But of course, it's all ADR because it's animated, but you know.
Let's just say this, actually. We'll get right into this bit.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned that. You're right. That line sounds pretty different. But in that line, he actually is doing I say he, Chris P. Rat, is actually doing a little bit of an accent because everything he says, he only says a couple words up to that point.
Yeah.
And also some sounds. And up to that point, it really, to me, doesn't sound like he's doing any performance at all. It's Chris Pratt playing Chris Pratt.
Which is, I mean, how he is in everything he's done since Guardians of the Galaxy.
Sure, but no, I don't agree with that. I think he's playing a pretty different character in Jurassic Park than he is.
Is he playing a character in Jurassic World?
He's got such a pronounced like macho dickness that's very different than Star-Lord. Like, here's my favorite line in Jurassic World is they ask this question. You've heard me say this before. Actually, I know you're laughing because you've heard me say this before. They say some question about the crazy dinosaur, and they ask a question, and then Chris Pratt says, "Well, that depends." They say, "Depends on what?" And he's like, "Depends what them scientists cooked up in that lab." It's my favorite line in the whole movie because because it's so bad, but like
I was laughing. I was laughing because I don't think I've ever heard anyone say this is my favorite line in Jurassic World.
No, it's really good. It's a really good line. But let me tell you, that's a pretty different character than Look, we're all going to clown on Chris Pratt for this whole episode.
Yeah, sure.
So
sure.
I have to get my little moment in of defending him real quick.
Look,
which is only to say, I think he's playing a different character all the time. And so I don't say it's Chris Pratt playing Chris Pratt. I don't think that's usually true. He sounded that way for a minute here.
Yeah.
And then he says, Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. Like he says it with just the hint of a little pizzazz, he puts a little ganache on it, you know? Throws a little English on it.
Two things.
And I'm curious to hear more. Yeah.
Okay. Two things, Jeff. All right. So yeah, Chris Pratt. He's a clown. However you may feel about Chris Pratt and like any political leanings he may or may not have, any business he's wrapped up into.
He's just kind of a boring douchey guy. He's just a boring guy.
Right. But I mean, I think Chris Pratt, to me, besides all of that, stripped independent of that, he is just the epitome of, we're supposed to care about this guy now because the Hollywood machine is behind him. And like, I liked him as Star-Lord, and I really liked him in Parks and Rec before he became this version of Chris Pratt, before he like evolved and became Hollywood A-lister Chris Pratt, but I don't know. This is, everybody's been going on about the cast, the vocal cast, and Chris Pratt in particular. And, I always hear people, including me, make the complaint that, why do they get these big Hollywood A-listers to do the voices in these movies? Who the fuck cares? They're animated movies. Get professional voice actors. And can I just say the fact that we launched into just talking about Chris Pratt is the reason why they get these big Hollywood A-listers, because they don't want to just get kids into the theater. They don't just want to get weird fan freaks into the theater like us. They want to get mainstream, run-of-the-mill, popcorn shoveling.
Like a guy named Matt.
We have a guy named Matt on staff.
Just a real run-of-the-mill. Oh, we do have a good Matt. I was thinking of the bad Matts.
I was like, Matt is like the most unique individual I know. Like, that's a bad.
Right. Well, but he would be the first to admit that his name is not unique.
Yeah, sure. What I'm saying is, like, this is Illumination. The people behind the Minion franchise. They're going to just try to appeal to basic people. And that makes me sound like I'm some sort of elitist, us elitist Donkey Kong journalists. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, and this is why, because everybody's been whipped up into a frothy lather for the last year about the vocal cast. Chris Pratt and everyone else. So this is why they do it. And it is what it is. But you're right. Let's just launch into this. We're going in reverse order here because we're starting at the end.
Yeah, actually, before we get to that, can I just point out that your show notes are really solid this week?
Yeah.
So a little behind the scenes, Hyle writes up notes when, and then you go and record the episode and he's got some notes. We're going to talk about this first and this second or whatever. This week, it's just a series of screenshots. That's all it is. It's a series of screenshots. It's got the blurry Chris Pratt talking like an alien, whatever, and it's got all the screenshots. I love that your whole notes are just like a screenshot chronological sequence of the whole thing. That's really actually kind of useful.
Well, I figure, it was a teaser trailer. We don't need to really be that in depth, and this will jog our memory. So yeah, I didn't want to write anything today. Jeff, I'm sorry.
I complimented you. Don't apologize. I was on your side.
Well, yeah. All right. So let's talk about the voice really quick, because this is, I think, according to our chat, the biggest source of contention that people have. You're right. That last, seemingly just 80-yard in line, maybe just for the trailer, he was doing. I don't know if you heard any Italian accent, but to me, it was much more in the vein of Captain Lou Albano or Bob Hoskins, their Mario.
I don't know. Yeah, you say that. My biggest thing with it is I wish they were doing more Albano Hoskins style, but those are a lot, in my opinion, gruffer, a lower register, a deeper voice. Obviously, Mario in the games has the highest pitched voice of all, and not all players of Mario can even hear tones at the pitch that he says them. Here we go.
Actually, yeah. But, if you are I think over the age of 25, you can no longer hear Mario. It's going to happen to you people.
It's actually true. It happens to us all. But luckily for me, I'm 8.5 years old.
Wait, you just said you had 9 beers. Should I call child services?
You're allowed to have 1 beer for every year you've been alive, and they round up. Up.
That's how they do it in the Midwest. Okay.
Well, yeah, we're in beer country, but look, you made me lose the train of thought. The accent that he was doing, he is doing a bit of an accent, but it's such a small sample that it's hard to even imagine how it's going to sound in subsequent, even in that one sentence, I can't extrapolate and imagine what this is really going to sound like all the time. And so, I like that he is doing some amount of voice. It was always clear that to everyone, it was always clear that Chris Pratt was going to be the contentious part. At best, it was going to be boring.
But I think, okay, here's me defending weirdly.
I'm just saying I'm optimistic to hear more of it because he's not just doing Emmett from the Lego movie.
Right.
There is a little bit of English on that sentence.
Or Italian, yeah. But I think that obviously that's the reason they cast him is, he was the blue-collar everyman in the Lego movie, and we want to really get that across with Mario in this movie. And if he is going for a Brooklyn accent, that's what I heard to my ears, but you're right, it was a very small sample. Then I think that's the right direction to go because, the Charles Martinet is iconic, but that's not something you could do in a movie. And I think that, for the younger crowd out there who may only know Mario as the hoo-hoo, hee-hee, blah, 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 then that will be a shock and it will be gross and weird and wrong. But, I'm from the age where I watched, Captain Lou be Mario and watched Bob Hoskins in, a dubious adaptation that was interesting at the very least. And so to me, that was Mario until Super Mario 64 uprooted that. So I think to do that in a movie, this is the right direction to go. You have to kind of humanize Mario a little bit more. And I think they did that with his design too. I think other than the flat ass, which is very distracting, I think it's more distracting than if they would have given him some junk in that trunk, As I said when I announced this episode to the patrons, my rattly don't want some if you don't got none. What is the anyway?
Hyle, why do you try? Wow.
Well, look, I am also drinking a cider.
It was fine. It wasn't bad.
I'm drinking a cider, so I can
give
make
you
mistakes.
a C. I give you a C on it. I'll give you a C on that. C passes. C's get degrees. All right. Just ask former President George W. Bush. C's get degrees. Making it political.
Yeah, wow.
What about this?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, but I aside from the flat ass, and I do think they need to give him a little bit of a butt implant. Not like Donkey Kong level where you're just, staring at it the entire time, but just enough so it's not so distracting in the other direction. But I like that they made his eyes a little bit smaller. It's just a little touch, but it allows this version of Mario to be a little bit more expressive, emote a little bit more, and it dials down the creepy factor in seeing this character as human. Because if you're trying to empathize and believe in Mario in a feature-length animated movie, you do not want Game Mario's giant eyes to distract you.
Yeah, no, I will tell you this. I don't know if I like it, this specific implementation of it.
Yeah.
But what I like is that this is a slightly off-model Mario.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard for anyone to imagine, like, what is this, before we saw this, what is this going to look like? What is an Illumination Mario movie going to look like? Because it feels to me like a really long time since we've ever seen Mario be off model, you know what I mean? To be a really unique or different take on the look of Mario. To me, I think for almost 20 years, Mario has looked identical from game to game, with the only variance being the level of detail.
And like Paper Mario and things,
oh sure,
officially approved off model models of Mario. But yeah, you're right. Since the GameCube,
but those are rare.
Since the GameCube, it's pretty much been uniform and standard, and in my opinion, a little bit boring.
Yeah, but I like the fact, I don't know if I really love this look for Mario, but I like that it's different than standardized Mario. Yeah. And I agree that it's going to be more expressive, and it's probably the right direction for an animated film like this. I think that the Mario look is good. I'll tell you this much. I love that his shirt has a collar on it. He has a collared shirt. I don't think Mario's ever do that. But it makes sense that it would be. Like, there's no reason it shouldn't be a collared shirt. I like it. So, good touch, good detail.
Yeah.
Nailed that. End of story. That's it.
Yeah. I have to say, since we are starting at the bottom and working our way back to the top.
I forgot we did that. Yeah.
I love the look of the Mushroom Kingdom. I think it is fantastic. I think it is the most exciting I've been about the Mushroom Kingdom probably since I was a kid playing the original Mario Brothers games on the NES. I think that it's the perfect blend of what we know from the games, but also this Lewis Carroll, Alice in Wonderland style, trippy, like college dorm room blacklight poster.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much. I love the at least suggested or implied plot detail, which we had all, I think, already guessed.
Yeah.
Which is that, in fact, yes, that this is doing a bit of an Alice in Wonderland. Mario comes from a city outside of the fantastical realm, and then through a warp pipe ends up in this wild, crazy place. I think we all kind of thought that's where they were going because they announced that Form and Spike could be in it, and elements that kind of make sense in the big city / Brooklyn sort of side of Mario lore. And so I think this trailer really implies that indeed our assumption is right on that, and that we're seeing Mario arrive in the Mushroom Kingdom, and that the movie is going to be us seeing him experience that for the first time, or whether maybe not the first time, if you want to think about like a Yoshi's Island babyhood scenario where he was in the Mushroom Kingdom and then went to Brooklyn or the big city or the big ape city or the new donk city, and then came back to Mushroom Kingdom as an adult, not knowing anything about it.
Well, and, I think that they might even go Brooklyn. I think that may even be the incorporated backstory. They are actually, I could see them just making all of the origins for Mario work in a cohesive whole, much like our fanon. That what you just stated is what we've always said, how you could reconcile the two sort of contrasting backstories for Mario. And I think they may actually go that direction because they seem to be making a lot of deep pulls, and Miyamoto seemed to suggest that this will be chock full of references to the entire history of Mario. And we saw a little bit of that in the trailer, things that I was surprised to see show up. So I think, people get focused on Illumination and what they've done, and people just get in this mindset that this is going to suck. And I have to admit, I got into that mindset too. But Nintendo's also overseeing this, and they have a greater degree of hands-on oversight than they have in past projects, whether they be the Deke cartoons or the original Super Mario Brothers movie or the Donkey Kong Country cartoon. So I think you're going to get a much deeper commitment to the very least hitting all of the various points of Mario history. And we saw that with the casting announcements. Form and Spike, Cranky Kong. They're going places with this. And so far, our assumptions are correct. It seems to be a fish out of water story, stranger in a strange land.
Right.
And
Alice in Wonderland or Dorothy in Oz or fucking Wendy in Neverland type. Yeah,
And I know some people...
For us growing up in the 90s, you're quite a bit older than me. I'm 8.5 years old.
Right.
But I was displaced from time back and teleported to the future is how that makes sense. But
I know.
In the 90s, it was very much, that was just the understanding of Mario. It was like Mario comes from a big city, but he has an Alice in Wonderland style arrival in the Mushroom Kingdom. I think everyone just kind of got that. Now the story, the show, the games, they're not really heavy on plot. They don't show this, but it doesn't matter because as a kid, you just accept all the surreal like nonsense that the original Mario Brothers says about the Mushroom Kingdom. It is a surreal, weird fantasy world, the Mushroom World. But I think that was a big part of the story back then. And I think for probably 20 years, that has been really just not necessarily retconned, but very not acknowledged of the idea that Mario ever didn't live in the Mushroom World.
For sure. And I think also just the surrealness of the Mushroom Kingdom, the Mushroom World, has been downplayed. Where, like, seeing it in this trailer, it did feel fantastical for me for the first time in years. For the first time, honestly, in my adulthood, it has felt like a different realm, a fantasy land, and it not just a place that has some mushrooms and some talking mushrooms and some vague form of monarchy. Like this felt like,
and the sun is alive. He's angry. He's angry.
And I like that mushrooms played such a big part in it, and I like that Toad. I don't know. He was weird. I thought the Toad voice worked for me because it was who was it? Was it Keegan
Michael Key?
Yeah. Because it wasn't grating like hi. It was a little bit of that, and then it sort of mellowed out into just this higher pitched voice, but one that didn't make you want to claw your eardrums out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, no, I thought that was great too. Yeah, the Toad voice.
Just the level of detail on Toad. I don't know if you noticed, but you can actually see some of the textures of his mushroom head. Like I
like that he has dimples.
Yeah.
He's got these he's got these dimples that just really, they really elevate the whole movie.
And he's got the all black eyes, but you can make out sort of the eyelid around it. It is just this nice balance of, here's the video game character, let's bump up the realism just a bit, but not so much that it's unsettling. It sort of reminds me of, like, what if Rare had made a Super Mario game back, like, on the GameCube? I think it might have looked something like this. Obviously not with, the multi-million-dollar Hollywood budget behind
not this level of detail, yeah,
but
sure.
They'd be going for the same thing, where they can just bump up the realism, bump up the sort of texture. It's kind of like what Sakurai's team does with Smash Brothers too. So this is the next level, though. So I don't know. I'm a big fan.
Before we go any further, I did forget. I told G-Man. G-Man is a common listener of the show, a frequent listener of the show.
Yeah,
a friend of mine. And I told G-Man I'd give him a shout out, because he demanded it. But so G-Man said, "Dry bones confirmed. Boners rise up."
So good commentary, right there.
Thank you, G-Man. Yeah. I only have to say that because I'm afraid that if I didn't say the thing he told me to, then I would end up getting killed in the night by G-Man. But I don't have to worry about it now.
So the opening prologue not prologue, but the scene setter with Bowser and the Koopa Troop. This is like, immediately I was like, oh, this is actually kind of good. I'm not going to snark on this. Shit.
I like that they opened with that and not the Mario bit.
Yeah.
I don't even hate the Mario bit, but I think that opening with the Bowser bit was the right move.
It was smart because I don't know if it was reading the room so much that more people are looking forward to Jack Black's Bowser than they are Chris Pratt's Mario. So let's open with that, set the mood, and get everybody on board before we reveal Chris Pratt's Mario. But yeah, this whole thing, when I was mentioning deep pools, the fact that Bowser is seemingly rolling in on his Paper Mario castle, his flying, because it's not just the general design of a floating fortress, but it was those big maces that come down, the old ball and chain. That's from Paper Mario, and I know that. So I thought that was pretty cool, and the fact that at first I thought this was the Mushroom Kingdom that he was like rolling up on. I was like, this is an interesting design for it. It doesn't really look like that teaser poster we saw earlier in the week, but it was the penguins, the penguin characters first seen in Super Mario 64. They apparently, at least in the lore of the movie, have their own little kingdom, and Bowser's hitting it up. He wants their power star, or I don't know what terminology they're going to go with, but
right, yeah, it's essentially the design of the superstar that makes Mario go invincible in the original Mario Brothers game. But I kind of feel like in terms of plot significance, it might have more of a Power Star type significance maybe in the Super Mario 64 kind of sense. But it's hard to say. This thing looks like one really important MacGuffin.
Well, I don't think it's one really important MacGuffin. So here's my theory.
I'm saying this is one. I'm not saying this is the only one.
I think they're going to go a bit of a Thanos route with Bowser. I don't know how many Power Stars or whatever they're going to call this. I don't know how many are going to exist in the lore of the movie, but I think he's going to be hitting up these various kingdoms. That are surrounding the Mushroom Kingdom, and we're going to see some cameos, some references, some characters. Hell, who knows? Maybe Cranky Kong even has one in the Congo jungle on DK Island. But I think I don't know what happens when Bowser gets all of them, but I think it's going to be the Mushroom Kingdom has the last one he needs, and it's going to become a race against time to make sure Bowser...
And it just happens to coincide with some plumber from Brooklyn having showed up in the land.
Yep.
And here's my theory, because look at this. When Superman came from Krypton to Earth, and Earth didn't have as strong a gravity, so that makes Superman able to fly, right?
Yeah.
So, in my theory, in the mushroom world, Mario in there has less gravity than he did in Brooklyn in the human world. And so when he gets there, there's so much less gravity that he can jump higher than is natural. And that's why people start calling him the Jump Man, like a Superman. He's the Jump Man. He can jump. And when he is able to jump, 5 times his own height up in the air, which is unnatural in real life, but is common in a Mario game. When he does that, he finds the one weakness of the Koopas, which is that if you jump on them, you can smush them. But no one's ever done that before because nobody can jump 20, 12, 18 feet in the air. That's only Jumpman can.
Jeff, I'm going to agree with you that is where they're going to go with this. That's why they're going to call him Super Mario. Because yeah.
That's even better. Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the disparity of the gravitational everything when he comes from Earth to Mushroom, and he's basically, the thing is, on Earth he's a very average day plumber, blue collar man. Although he has a red collar. Yeah. He has a red collar in this one, but he comes to here, and now an average man on Earth is a superhero here.
Right.
It's like the movie Idiocracy.
Yeah, no, you're right. This is basically Idiocracy, except with Mario as the smartest man in the Mushroom Kingdom, but he's an idiot on Earth. I think that I think I'm okay with this. I think I'm okay with this because this is basically what you do. This is screenwriting 101, especially adapting a property. Is how do I make this nonsense make sense in a succinct 90-minute kids movie? And
I wish there was a 90-minute movie these days. There hasn't been one. I remember when movies could be 90 minutes. It was.
I don't know if you remember the Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo Super Mario Brothers movie, the live action one from the early 90s.
I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. The way they explained them jumping high is they had like moon boots in that.
I remember the boots.
Yeah.
Those were good boots.
Yeah. Which is a stupid explanation for it, but they also attempted to go there. Well, why can this man jump like he can? He's a schlubby plumber from Brooklyn. Oh, moon boots. But here, you're right. They're probably going to go with the
Superman, Kryptonian type.
Yeah. That's all you need, and that's why Mario. That's why Mario has to be the savior of the Mushroom Kingdom. He's the only one who can do it to squish those turtles.
He's going to squish them. It's the only way. These turtles have to get smushed, and
they just have to.
These penguins throwing ice balls. What do they call them? Snowballs.
Yeah, that's what they call them now.
That's not going to do it. You have to jump, but nobody can jump that high. It's impossible.
Because it's a universe. Guy. It's a realm, a dimension, a pocket world full of stout little things. And Bowser's the biggest one. But what Mario can
Bowser's voice. We got to talk Bowser's voice because that's really what the people care about. We got a little bit of the.
I was going to talk about how great Kamek looks, and
I think if we work backwards, Kamek comes later.
Why did I put these screen caps in order? Oh my god! All right, so
I'm testing you. The Jack Black voice, I think everyone was excited about a little bit more than I was.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you why. For me, it was. I love Jack Black. I think he's a great performer, great entertainer. But am I going to hear his voice and be able to not just think that's Jack Black?
Right.
Am I going to be able to hear it and think that's Bowser and not think in my head like every time he speaks, get taken out, having my immersion broke? And think that's Jack Black. Now, the actual performance. Well, go ahead. Yeah, what's your take on that?
To me, I wasn't really hyped about this because, I don't have any issues with Jack Black. I like a lot of the stuff he's done. Sometimes, a bit bombastic for my taste, and I'm like, yeah, I get it, Jack Black, I get it. But this was just the epitome of stunt casting to me. I was like, is that really a good fit? I don't know. Granted, I'm not the casting director. I don't know what these actors can bring, right? So, but from the outside, looking at old Jack Black's Bowser, just like, rah, 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 okay. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if any voice modulation is going on, but I like this interpretation of Bowser. It works for me. He sounds true to the essence of the character. He seems intimidating and imposing, but there's a little bit of, comic mischief in his eye, a little twinkle.
Yeah, so to that, I'll basically say for both Jack Black and Chris Pratt, although I think I need to hear more of Chris Pratt. It's really hard to really pass a judgment until I hear more. But for both, I feel at least reassured enough that I think with repeated exposure throughout the film, after a few minutes, I will be able to lose the actors and be immersed and not just feel out of it like, that's not what Bowser sounds like. That sounds like Jack Black. Like, no, I think that Jack Black's obviously I'm not even as concerned about, but I agree. I kind of thought, is this going to be a good fit? And it actually is a better fit than I thought. He does some good, really deep, growly, and I don't know if it's modulated or edited at all, but if it is, it's fine. But like, yeah, the one where he said, what, the Penguin King says, "Are you gonna surrender?" And he's just like, "Nah." That was the one where I was like, "Well, that sounded like Jack Black. That didn't sound deep and growly at all." But I think I can lose Jack Black in this character, and I think I've got enough hint that I might be able to lose Chris Pratt in the Mario. I don't know. I gotta hear, but I think that it's just enough that I can just get used to it. And that's the thing about the Mario character. The casting around him is so good, I think, that Mario just has to be passable.
Yeah.
If the Chris Pratt Mario can be passable, everything's going to be solid. It's going to be great. I think that everyone's going to compare him to everyone else, but it doesn't have to matter. It just, as long as he's passable, it's going to be good.
And to me, I was kind of reassured. Cause if he, like, you don't want it to be a distracting Chris Pratt doing a silly voice.
No.
And so I think
at that point, why get Chris Pratt? Right. You can get better people to do better silly voices.
But like as you've put it several times now, if he puts a little English on it, then just a little bit, maybe 10%.
But a skosh, just a skosh of effort.
A skosh, yeah.
A skosh.
So yeah, maybe 5%. Unlike his normal voice, I'll be fine with it. I'll be happy with it. So yeah, I liked Jack Black's Bowser, and I knew when they were the only two actors they brought on in the very awkward Zoom calls.
The awkward Zoom call.
Yeah,
golly.
I was like, that's probably going to be the only two characters we see, and that's not quite true. We saw Toad, we saw Kamek, we heard them.
Kamek.
Yeah,
you did say the Kamek. I want to point out with Kamek, one, I love that Kamek is a character in this movie at all.
Yeah,
I just think that's great because it doesn't have to be, but. What a good character to have in there. And then two, maybe out of the 4.5 characters that we hear genuine dialogue from, Kamek might be the best little character out of this little small set of choices. Kamek is just good in this trailer. It's just good. And I think part of that is I think the style and the animation and the look of this Kamek is kind of neat. But also I just think that this being the one actor in the bunch that is basically a serial voice actor, a person in the voice acting industry more so than the Hollywood system, which I think it's Kevin Michael Richardson doing the voice of the Kamek.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah, that's just a great Kamek. Really, with everyone else, I'm constantly thinking like, oh, you're a celebrity. I hope you sound normal and I don't just associate with you being a celebrity. And then with this Kamek, I'm just like, oh, that sounds like Kamek.
Well,
that doesn't sound.
Do we even know what Kamek can sound like? Do we have any preconceived notions of what Kamek should sound like? So, it
no, but if it sounded exactly like a celebrity, that would be distracting.
Yeah.
If Kamek starts speaking and it's Kevin Hart, you're going to say, that's not Kamek. That's Kevin Hart. That's Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Honestly, I'm surprised. I'm surprised Kevin Hart is not in this. I have to be honest.
Yeah, Kevin Hart wanted to be the voice of all of them, but they actually just didn't ask him. So.
I guess they dodged, a bullet not having Armie Hammer in there. Armie Hammer would be a great Yoshi.
I don't know why. Yeah, Yoshi's great. Nope. Yours is better than mine. I was gonna say. I was gonna think of for some reason I'm just like Army Hammer charging Chuck. Army Hammer is charging Chuck, and in this universe, charging Chuck is a cannibal. And I don't know why my brain went there, but it's fine.
I just went straight for the person who eats people. I don't know why you made it all complicated.
I forgot how much Yoshi eats people. It's so many characters. Like we don't even have Wario or Waluigi.
Yeah, but I like the display of the Koopa troop. They're all like mostly. I think they're all wearing helmets, like your Hammer brothers, your Fire brothers, your various brothers.
You know what I liked? They're not all identical. Did you notice this?
Yeah, one's got an eye patch.
They
like
zoomed in on one with an eye patch, and I'm like, dog, that one has a fucking eye patch.
You got paratroopers. I think out front. Just a nice display of design, and like Kamek, I like how they display his age. He's got little wrinkles around his mouth. It's just great. And I think here's another theory, Jeff. I think Kamek is there because they will have a reveal late in the movie that Mario is from the Mushroom Kingdom and Kamek had a role in.
So I mean, that just really works as like a screenplay moment, right? Yeah. Like if you're the writer of like, okay, Mario's in Brooklyn, he comes to Mushroom Kingdom.
And Kamek went after Baby Mario and Baby Luigi because he was the prophesized superstar, the Jumpman, whatever.
I do think that we are going to see Mario backstory in this movie. Yeah. And in terms of this universe's take of Mario, we're going to see Mario backstory. Foreman Spike. It's going to be who's playing him? Sebastian Maniscalco. Mm-hmm. We got Foreman Spike, we got the Donkey Kong element, Cranky Kong, which could be a flashback. I don't know. Well, I think we're going to see some Mario backstory throughout this movie.
I am curious how Donkey Kong is going to be involved in this, and of course, we didn't get any hint, any suggestion of how Donkey Kong is going to be in this. So I don't know if it's going to be a thing where, like I said, maybe Cranky is in possession of one of the Power Stars and Bowser comes for him. And if they are going to go the backstory route and show like this brief, abridged version of the original Donkey Kong, to set up him going.
I'm picturing that. I'm picturing this little brief backstory of Mario, literally Chris Pratt doing a voiceover, like 5-minute sequence of like, and then I had to fight an ape in Brooklyn, and here's what that looked like, and like you might be wondering, freeze frame, you might be wondering how I got here, classic fucking Hollywood. Let me ask you this.
Yeah, sure.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
The sheer fortitude of Illumination, the gall, the strength of character to not have this whole thing be played over a pop song.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought this up because I think that's going to come with the full trailer, the main trailer. I think they showed remarkable restraint with this, and I think this was mostly designed to get Nintendo diehards and Mario purists on board, or at least meet them halfway. I think the full trailer will be the full-on schlocky Illumination bullshit that everybody was afraid of with this one. The best theory, and I still think this is going to happen, Cameron, I think, is the one who came up with this or brought it to the DK Vine staff's attention, but they're probably going to use Van Halen's Jump in the main trailer.
That's Cameron's pitch.
Yeah.
Jump. Great song choice. I've heard other people say Starman by Bowie.
I think Bowie's too esoteric for something like this. If you are
Bowie was in the fucking Buzz Lightyear movie trailer, and the song Starman is almost a cliche at this point. It's been in like 3 movies in the past 2 years for trailers.
I hate that.
That's terrible. We're in a dystopia. The second Bowie dies, we're gonna put Starman on every fucking trailer. But my pitch was Mamma Mia by ABBA. And because of he's Italian, Mamma Mia, it's a spicy meatball, whatever, offensive stereotype. But, and if it wasn't going to be ABBA, if it wasn't going to be Mamma Mia, my backup was to be Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds. And not any particular song or any connection to Mario, but just because I thought that would be neat if that band got featured. I'd be like, wow, only me and Hyle know about them. What a great obscure pick. I just hope that they get picked. I don't know, maybe for Mario or one of the.
I suggested White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane.
Take your pick. Take your pick. Jefferson Starship, Jefferson Airplane.
We built this city.
Regular Starship.
Yeah. We could do just Starship. We built this city when he's escaping Cranky Kong.
Oh, at the girders.
Yeah.
We built the city. That's fucking genius.
No, it's not. It's terrible.
It's wacky. It's great.
It has no weight or merit behind it other than
you just have to puff a cigar when you say it and it'll sound so legit.
Yeah, the only thing it has backing it up is that idiots chomping down their buckets of ravioli in the theater will be like, I recognize that.
Yeah, well, I think that it's too early to call all of people idiots. That seems harsh.
I know. I've got a migraine right now, Jeff. I get grumpy and
it's okay. Yeah. Grumpy is Cranky canonically it's Cranky Kong's father is Grumpy Kong. But listen, so we're at the edge of the time limit on a Kongversation mini here. Yeah. But we didn't talk about the dry bones chasing Charlie Day's Luigi.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about whatever other stuff we didn't. So any thoughts on those?
Just that little bonus scene that they like to throw on at the end of trailers to really just whet your appetite, which is odd because they use dry bones, the least wet Mario characters available. But I think that, I don't know, it's just Luigi's here too, which signifies to me that, Luigi's going to have some great degree of prominence. You're right, he might be just the B plot. They might not keep the brothers entwined much in the movie.
I think they get separated in the beginning. I think they start out together. Mario comes through separately and gets paired up with Toad, and then Luigi comes through and he goes on his own little nightmare ghosty path of running into fucking ghosts and skeletons the whole day.
And I think that Luigi
they come together at the end.
Yeah, but I think that maybe Luigi will help save the day. Both plots will merge in the end, and Luigi will actually be the one. And then there'll be a joke where Mario gets all the credit, and Luigi's just oh, jokes.
Yeah. He's always busy doing Charlie work. That's a reference.
I am looking forward to hearing Charlie Day's Luigi because that's going to be weird.
We heard some of his little, sounds, his cries, his exclamations, just onomatopoeias, and it sounds great coming out of that Luigi, doesn't it? You look at that Luigi's face and you hear that voice, and you're like, okay, Charlie Day is going to knock this out of the park. My only complaint is that I've always fan casted Charlie Day as Diddy Kong.
Yeah.
I always have. I think he's the right amount of high pitched but not annoying.
Yeah.
He's the only guy who can nail that. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. But I'm also trying to keep an open mind because this is easy for me to embrace anything I saw in this trailer because I'm not the Mario guy. When Donkey Kong is revealed, that's when I will have to fight the part of my brain that is a purist and be like, well, that's not how Donkey Kong would sound. I hate this. I'm not going to do that, all right? I'm going to go into even the Donkey Kong stuff with an open mind because this is what it is. This isn't the games. This is the movie, and it's going to be a little bit different, and that's fine. So far, though, I'm optimistic because I like what they're doing with Mario, and it's been a long time since I've really been on board with anything they've done with Mario, 100% or even 90%, where I'm interested in this Mario story they're telling. Even something like Odyssey, where I'm like, that looks like a great game. I'm not really interested in the narrative, it's So yeah, I'm going to try to unclench my asshole when it comes to the eventual, inevitable reveal of Donkey Kong, which I assume will be coming in the full trailer whenever that will be. Probably not till the new year. Probably not till like January or February.
When is this comes out in April, right?
April, yeah.
April. Oh shit. Yeah. So that's a ways off. That's 6 months. That's 6 months.
Jeez, yeah.
6 months away.
First Hitler's birthday, now this.
Is Hitler's birthday in April? I didn't know.
It's April 20th, Jeff.
Oh, he's born on 4/20? That's like the drug day. Wow.
Right. Same birthday as my grandmother, too. That's how I remember it.
Oh, and also your name is Hyle. No offense. No offense.
You can't just say my name evokes offense. Nazism and say no offense. I'm offended.
But if I didn't mean offense, you can't be mad at me.
I'm glad I could be mad about something, because otherwise I kind of like this trailer.
We'll see. Yeah, I actually, you know what? It was a teaser. It was a teaser more than a trailer, and I think that I expected even less out of it than what we got. So I was pleasantly surprised, and we got a taste of the tone of the movie, the visual look of the movie, and the characters, and a taste of what Mario's voice might kind of be like, and Bowser's voice. And I think that's a really great, preview, little preview of what's to come. So look forward to the next trailer. But I'm optimistic, and I don't hate Illumination movies. I think some of them are bad, but I think I have a higher tolerance for these CGI kids movies that aren't made by Pixar than most of the rest of you have. My favorite movies are the Ice Age film franchise, of which I've watched all 6 movies, including the directed to Disney Plus 6th movie, and including all of the mini specials. What do you call those? Like a short. I've seen all the shorts, and I've seen the Scrap mini series. Like, I love Ice Age, so I think that Illumination can still make a good movie. They didn't make Ice Age. That's not related, but I like the Minion movies. I think that people think that the Minion movies are worse than they are because they find the Minions annoying, but the actual movies are okay, and they're not all bad. Some of the Illumination movies are bad, though, but not all of them are. So that's Kongversation Mini.
This has been a File 2 production.
Qué rico.